don't care that I have the stream scheduled for like another 10 minutes. There, we're doing the thing. And without much issue this time. 2 days in a row, that's not probably gonna happen on here for like another year. Unless I'm just really feeling it. But when it comes to Fortnite Fridays, I'm really never gonna do these back to back. Because I have other games I'd like to stream. And I just want to do other things. But, once again, we're here, not on a Friday. So I'm getting mileage out of that thumbnail that I cooked up in about 10 minutes. But I'm back because a lot of stuff happened today. By a lot of stuff, I mostly just mean there was a big Nintendo Direct. But there's other stuff that I didn't get the chance to talk about yesterday that I meant to, and now more than ever I would like to. So, I got 3 main talking points. Nintendo Direct is talking point 1. iPhone with the USB-C charger is talking point 2. I'm numbering these, but they're not in that order when I go over them, necessarily. Just these are off the top of my head. Subject number 3 is... Was it like the Steam leaks? I guess? And also I wanted to talk more about the Unity thing, because I've looked a little more into it, and it's even worse than I thought. So I guess I'll open with the Unity thing. Discussing once again. Yeah, I hate to beat a dead horse, and I know it's a depressing topic. The dying gaming industry. But, like, Unity has bumped up their pricing for the Pro version from, like, $400 a head to, like, $2,000 a head. And that's per, like... And by dollar amount per head, I mean, like, that's what a studio would have to pay to get a Unity license for a single employee. They measure in desks, technically, but most studios would have you at one assigned desk, so it's per employee using the engine. So if you're a game dev studio of 7 people in a small office that you rent, you know, it's you and then 7 developers you've hired. And you're like the CEO and also a developer. You're like the lead developer because it's your little indie project that you turned into a small studio project. So that's 8 people, 8 computers, 8 copies of Unity. Now that small studio went from having to pay, like, what is it? It was like $480. So I'll just round up to $500 per head per year. 500 times 8 is like 4,000. $4,000 now only gets you 2 copies of Unity. So the price essentially quadrupled. And that's terrifying and also scammy. Like, it's weird because it's just weird because when it comes to game development, it's like a 2-year, 3-year process for like bigger games. You can't crank out a game in 2 months unless it's just a little arcadey thing, you know? If you're talking about a big budget game or just a medium budget game that's going to be like a fully fledged game and not just a little doohickey to play with, it's going to be a multiple month, if not multiple year process. So if you're a game dev and you start a project in Unity and then like 2 months down the line, this debacle happens where they quintuple or quadruple or whatever the price of using Unity. It's kind of fishy. I don't know. It wasn't even in the terms of service or anything. It's like they wiped their terms of service from the what is it? The GitHub. They had a TOS and they scrubbed it because they probably violated their own terms of service. Also, shocking news, the CEO and other higher-ups at Unity have been accused of insider trading, which is also not surprising. Whoa, a company made a boneheaded move? Whoa, those investors happened to sell all of their stocks right before doing something completely stupid? Wow, that's not suspicious at all. And now you've got, like, Unity engine developers, like the people who work on the engine, not like people who work in the engine as game devs, but we're talking like developers of the engine are now also leaving the Unity company in droves. That sucks, dude. That they're not gonna double back if they haven't even talked about the idea of doubling back within the company. Because if they had even floated the idea out there, or the vibe was that they might undo what they just did, given the backlash, then nobody would have left the company. You've got people leaving. So they're not undoing this. They are dead set on, like, screwing over Unity for profit. And that sucks. But we're going to see probably a big stagnation in game releases in the next year or two. In terms of indie stuff, I would say the next year is going to be a little rough. But also, we're going to see a mass migration of people from Unity to either Unreal Engine is the big one right now, or there's Godot, which is like the other freebie one, and it's also very starter friendly, the way Unity always kind of was. So I'm cool with Godot being the new Unity, because it seems fine enough. It's just, it sucks, because you've got the Slay the Spire devs coming out and saying, hey, we've been working on this game for 2 years. Too bad we have to restart development, am I right? Like, Jesus. Slay the Spire has been, like, hyped up or whatever, and I don't know, man. Just tragic. There's so many better ways you could have generated revenue. You could have just increased the price per, like, bracket. It's like, if you make X million dollars off a Unity game, you owe us X percentage. Or, you could do it based on percentage. You could do it based on copies sold. Copies sold. That's how everything has functioned in the gaming industry. If you want to do something sensibly, copies sold is a perfectly fine metric when it comes to charging game devs. Steam takes their cut out of a percentage of game sales. Game sales are one and done. Why is Unity taking their cut based on installs? Because installs are not necessarily the same as, like, copies sold. If it was copies sold, it would make perfect sense, but you could download the same game 5 times after buying it once. Unless Steam pulls a weird embargo where they're like, if you buy a Unity game, you're not allowed to reinstall it. You're paying for the download. If that doesn't happen, then we're going to stop seeing Unity games on, like, Steam. Which, fair enough, because no devs should have to make games in that terrible engine. If they're going to be this predatory and be this terrible, good. Screw them. But, it's especially funny, and I guess this could technically segue into the whole iPhone thing. Man, Apple's buckling in two different areas. They've got the iPhone charger going on, and then so they've announced and they're going to release this big expensive VR headset. And besides their own software that they announced, their big pitch, and I learned this from the Thrill Seeker video, he's like the biggest VR YouTuber, and he's made his whole thumbnail about the Unity thing, so big shocker there. You should totally watch his video, by the way. But one thing he pointed out was that at the Apple announcement thingy for the big Apple VR headset, they made it pretty apparent that a lot of their third-party applications were going to be based in Unity. That was their plan going forward. That's going to come to bite them in the butt now because nobody wants to make things in Unity nowadays. So we're going to see a lot of, or not a lot of, we're going to see not a lot, we're going to see major lack of software support for this big, like $3,000 VR headset, which, what's the point of a $3,000 VR headset if there's no software for it? You know, why would you buy that? It's a fancy $3,000 computer that can do nothing. Nobody's going to pay for that. So, that's neat. But I guess we'll pivot to the iPhone conversation. They finally made a USB-C iPhone, and that's the main selling point of the iPhone 15, because it has nothing going for it other than it's the new iPhone. It's just a 14. It's got the same stupid bubble they were trying to sell the higher model 14 with. My iPhone 13, you know, my first ever iPhone, is essentially the exact same machine as the iPhone 15. I'm gonna stop updating my iPhone here pretty soon because I know they're gonna start. I have like a year-old model now, so they're gonna start bogging it down with updates. I can smell it. It's gonna happen. So I'm trying to stop updating my iPhone, but it really doesn't want me to do that. You know, it'll update itself anyways. I turned auto updates off, and it's like, we already have the update downloaded, so we're gonna install it in your sleep. It's like, no, I turned that off. Please don't do that. I don't want the update. And they're like, too bad. God. Dude, I'm just bad at Fortnite now. Like, I picked this up as my podcast game because it was chill and I was able to occasionally get random wins. And now I'm, like, placing garbage because I'm more focused on the talking than the gameplay. So, that's a little rough. But yeah, we're finally seeing USB-C iPhone. And they're also selling a $40 dongle. That's right, a $40 dongle that just takes the lightning and it makes it a USB-C charger. Like, you plug your old iPhone charger in and then it adapts it to USB-C. There's nothing about that screams $40 expenditure. I could probably make a dongle that does that for 3 cents. I would just need to find a way to imitate the lightning port, and then I could easily wire up the electrical leads on that to the electrical leads on USB-C. Given that the USB-C is like an open standard, I already know what wires need to go to what, you know, contacts and stuff. It would not be hard to make that dongle myself. There's no reason why it should be $40. We're definitely going to see bootleg versions of it for like $3. Anyone who buys that thing from Apple is a moron. Anyways, I'm a little disappointed that was it Marcus Brownlee? I don't know if it was him or who it was that said that Apple's big pivot was going to be to a chargerless iPhone. But evidently that's not the case. It was one of them tech YouTubers that basically said Well, if they don't want to use the lightning adapter, they'll just stop and they'll make you wireless charge it. And you know what? That's kind of based. I use my iPhone wirelessly charged. It's on a stand right now, actually. It sits on my desk all the time. Sometimes I use it for like chat for this or whatever. But as much as wireless charging is like a neat thing, I don't think that would be healthy for the battery if that was the only method of charging the phone, because it can heat up pretty bad, and also it's just my understanding that that method of charging is supposed to wear out the battery quicker. Um so I don't know what to make of the whole chargerless iPhone proposition, but I thought it was a neat idea, and I thought about it for a little bit and realized that's kind of dumb. They're not going to do that. And that appears to be the case, at least not yet. They're just like, nah, USB-C iPhone, it makes sense. And of course it makes sense. They've already been using USB-C on iPads and iMacs since like probably 2016. So yeah, and that's just a number. That's a year I just pulled out an but so you know I don't know what year they started using USB-C for like iPads, but it was probably way earlier than they had any right to stick around with the stupid lightning adapter on the phones for. Moving on from the Apple thing, I guess now that I ranted about Unity a little bit and oh, I didn't mention why a Thrill Seekers video is like big. Basically, a disproportionate amount of VR development is based in Unity because it's like the most accessible engine. But it's okay because like Unreal is also easier to get to than ever, and now it has support for Lumen in VR, which is absurd. So we're gonna see essentially like ray traced VR games, which we're blurring the lines between VR and reality at that point if you can manage to make that run on a computer in real time rather than just in a pre-rendered setting. But yeah, now a lot of VR devs, which are mostly indie and they're like small fish, they're gonna struggle now. So again, we're gonna see more pivoting in that front to Unreal. And yeah. Now, what was I gonna get to? The other piece of news was probably the Nintendo Direct. So, some pretty hype announcements. We got a little more of a peek at whatever the Splatoon DLC is supposed to be. But you could probably tell by the way I said that I'm still not entirely sure what it's supposed to be. It's obviously a player versus, enemies type thing, but like not in the same vein as Salmon Run is, obviously. And then we don't necessarily know if it's a standard campaign the way that like Octo Expansion was. You would assume that, given that it's now confirmed that like Agent 8 is like the character again. So this is like the sequel to Octo Expansion, but I don't know. I still am a little suspicious. They said it's going to be endlessly replayable. Does that mean you're going to have like difficulty scaling? Because it looks like there's an upgrade system that works kind of like how you get like chunks of abilities that go on your equipable gear in the main game. I think they're implementing a perk system that you can equip these different like almost mod chips. You equip these mod chips and it increases your stats the same way the gear chunks do in the main game. So maybe the difficulty of the campaign levels will scale with how many modifiers you've equipped or something. So maybe that's what they mean by endlessly replayable, but I really don't know what to make of it. We have to see more of it because I still don't know what I'm looking at with it. There's also damage numbers. That's just weird to see in Splatoon, because Splatoon you know, has never shown damage numbers other than in the little training lab where they show how much you're dealing to the dummies. But in-game, you don't get damage numbers, so it's weird seeing them in the campaign thing. Where is this bozo? He's over there. I'm gonna go get him. Alright. Sorry to hear you failed your rank up battle, and also sorry for the super late response, because I saw that message ages ago. I was just busy talking about other things. I'm sure you'll get to do your next one. Are you shooting for S rank then? Someone's in here. Dude, they got the Doku smash. I'm about to die. I love how it's no build mode, and so instead we have Todoroki Ice Wall. It's still Fortnite, just kind of not. But yeah, I don't know what to make of the whole Splatoon part of the direct. Moving on, I'm gonna try and tackle things in chronological order, but I'm just going off the top of my head, so I don't exactly know what order everything was announced in. What did they show after Splatoon? Feel free to tell me in chat, because I don't remember. There was a lot of third-party stuff, but there was still a lot of juicy details with Nintendo stuff. Bunch of Square Enix things going on. Good for them. I guess I can cover the Mario Kart. So they announced Wave 6 is coming at the end of this year. Which is good. They only announced one track, but they announced all the characters. So we have Pauline and Peachette. Weird picks, but okay. I mean, Pauline is like whatever, but Peachette is just kind of strange to me. It's whatever. Dude, this guy has so much health. What is his deal? What the heck? His hireable dude had like 500 health. That's so weird. Okay, you're gonna do Fortnite, that's cool. Yeah, they announced Pauline, Peachette, and then Diddy Kong is back. I don't know why he wasn't in Mario Kart 8 to begin with back in 2014, because he's been in like... he was in Mario Kart Double Dash, he was in Mario Kart Wii. He wasn't in 7, but there was only like... Oh, you're gonna go? Okay, well that's fine. There was only like 8 regular characters in Mario Kart 7, and then like a weird hidden roster of randos that made no sense. So it was kind of fine that Diddy Kong wasn't there. But then he didn't come back in 8, despite them literally filling half the roster with like Koopalings. Like, why not give Diddy Kong a spot? That was strange. And then there was they brought back Funky Kong, who was in Mario Kart Wii and was the best character in Mario Kart Wii. So kind of cool, like the best character stat wise. Every speedrunner uses him except for specific courses that require specific ultra shortcuts that like demand you use a small character. But other than that, Funky Kong's the go-to. Um, at least that's my understanding of Mario Kart Wii meta. Um, so yeah, Funky Kong's back, Diddy Kong's back, Pauline and Peachette. Those were the 4 characters shown. I believe there were only 4. Which is fine, because I think that's exactly how many characters we've had so far. Like, because we got, was it Dry Bones from DLC? And then PD Piranha. I had them and then I lost them. Birdo. Was it Bowser Jr.? No, Bowser Jr. was added in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, so I don't know. Point is, we have like 8 new characters to the roster, and we just got the final 4, basically. Oh, Wiggler was one of them. No? Yeah. Yeah, Wiggler was a playable character. I don't know. Anyway. We have all the characters, but they only showed one new map, and it's Daisy Circuit from Mario Kart Wii, which is a little scary because that might in fact mean that we won't get Toad Factory back. And that was like the final Wii course that I really, really wanted. But you know what? It's fine because Daisy Circuit is a perfectly fine course from Mario Kart Wii. It's a little bland on the racing side, but the music's amazing, and I guess there are enough things going on the stage that make it unique despite it being kind of a generic circuit track. I mean, the setting alone is like nice. It's always at a sunset, and you've got these statues, fountains, and you can like drift through that doorway and around the lighthouse. That was always cool. And it actually is fitting because it ties into the Daisy Cruiser level that they brought back last time. Because you can see Daisy Cruiser off the coast of Daisy Circuit. That's neat. But yeah, that was the Mario Kart news. Kind of weird that they announced all the characters and like one map. This is what they did last time, and then they announced all the maps at a later date. So I guess they're really trying to build hype for Mario Kart DLC that everyone already paid for. Don't know what's the deal with that. You just announce everything and then put it in the game. No need to do this whole waiting thing. It's like artificially making the DLC more worth it, but that's only because it makes the content feel like it's a lot more. Like, you get 8 new updates worth of content. And it's like, this could have been 1 update. Or like, I guess 2. I don't know. Didn't have to be like this. On to more awesome news. So we saw they re-highlighted that Mario RPG is like a thing that's happening. They showed a couple of like changes to the game. Apparently, if you do an action command properly, it has like a splash damage effect that hits everything, which is a interesting change from the base game. Um, Hopefully they have like a classic difficulty that changes stuff like that back to the way the original game works. They also have an ultimate gauge. You get enough hits in, or you perform enough action commands, or whatever it is that pumps up the gauge. Once you get to 100%, you can do a special triple team move, because that game had like a 3 character in the party system. And the special move will be different depending on your combination of 3 characters. So that's really cool, actually. some goofy, unique interactions going on between the special characters in the game. Oh man. Which the ultimate thing is cool, and I would be fine playing with that, but the regular action command buff, it just seems out of place and unnecessary. So again, I hope there's a classic mode difficulty that sets that back and just lets you play the game as it was originally designed. There is like post-game content now, which is cool. That was added. You can go back and fight some of the key bosses in the game, and they have like harder fights when you refight them, which is really cool. So I might get Mario RPG when it comes out, but I might not, because guess what? There's another Mario RPG game being made that will be releasing next year that's a whole lot more hype, in my opinion. Although I'm glad that they finally are re-releasing Mario RPG, because it like needed recognized as a Mario game. But Paper Mario is getting the love it deserves after kind of being for way too long. Basically, Thousand Year Door is getting a complete remake. And that's amazing, because Thousand Year Door is like a $200 disc. I wanted to play Thousand Year Door so bad. When I found out what it cost, I cried, because I really wanted to play it on my Wii, and I couldn't afford it. So they're re-releasing it, and it's gonna be a regular game price of $60 for an old game, which is like whatever. But you know what? It's getting the remastered HD treatment, and it looks awesome. And you know what? I would pay $60 for Thousand Year Door in the year 2024. I don't care that it's an old game. It's still a full game. It has the same amount of content in it as you would expect from like a new Mario game. It's not like the size of games has gotten bigger in that front, because it's like an RPG. They've always been generally kind of long. But, you know, I imagine people will probably still complain about price tag for an old game, but it's been rebuilt from the ground up. Alright. That alone is kind of enough to warrant the whole price tag, assuming there's enough content there to make it worth the money. And there will be, because it's a decently long game with like replay value and stuff. You've got the Pit of 100 Trials, the OG Pit of 100 Trials. I didn't actually know that that was a thing from Thousand Year Door. I thought it was only a thing in like Super Paper Mario, which is the game I grew up with on the Wii. But apparently that was just a recycled concept, and that the Pit of 100 Trials actually started in Thousand Year Door. That's cool. Anyway, sometime 2024, looking forward to that releasing. And maybe I'll buy both, but also that's a lot of money for two games. And I've been stingy with my game purchasing money ever since I entered Steam. It takes a lot to get me to buy a game. I bought Tears of the Kingdom at full price though. I didn't care. I knew that was gonna be a once in a lifetime experience, so it's like whatever. I guess technically my sister paid for it with me, so I didn't actually pay $70 out of pocket for Tears of the Kingdom. We both paid for it because we were both going to play it a ton. What's some other news? So we saw more of that Peach game. It has a title now. It's Princess Peach something. It's not Super Princess Peach 2, unfortunately. Or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, because that game is kind of questionable in a lot of areas. Special font for the title. Not very Mario-esque. It's very unique, actually, in that regard. It's cool that we have a title for that now. Again, I would tell you what it is if I remembered what it is. But I really am probably not going to get that game, because I don't know. Although, we saw more of the game as well as, you know, seeing the title. So, I imagine it will be some people's cup of tea. It's not going to be my thing. So, being realistic, I don't care too much. But, you know, it looks like more of a game than I was expecting, so that's cool. Peach has, like, costume transformations. We've got Sword Fighter Peach, and, like, Detective Peach. And the whole game takes place across these stage plays. Very unique, like, you know, world going on. And I think a unique villain that has nothing to do with Bowser, which is sick. Because the last time we had that in a Mario game was probably Thousand Year Door. Haha. Well, I guess Super Paper Mario had a unique villain. A couple, actually. I don't know. Point is, looking forward to when Smash Bros. Whatever comes out on the Nintendo whatever, and we get to see Peach in all these cool costumes in a fighting game 20 years down the line. Because they're not doing Smash Bros. Again for a while. I also think it'd be sick to see, like, Sword Fighter Peach amiibo. That would be fire. On the amiibo front, we finally got Sora from Smash Bros. From Disney, from Final Fantasy, Disney, Kingdom Hearts, whatever. He's got an amiibo now, so every Smash fighter in the game has an amiibo, apparently. I didn't know that Minecraft Steve had an amiibo, but apparently Minecraft Steve and Minecraft Alex have amiibos. That's neat. I don't know why I didn't think that they did. Super Slap Splash? What does that entail? What makes it super? Alright, whatever. Your forecast data from 2 forecast towers? Does that have to be in a single game? I don't see. I guess it would say a single game if that was like a thing. Yeah, the Peach game looks pretty unique and pretty cool. But again, between the 2 Mario RPG games that I kind of want both of, and also the new Mario 2D platformer that I also kind of want, you know, my Mario budget is kind of full. And then, apparently, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon is getting re-released on the Switch in an HD port, HD remake. Remaster? It's got to be a remake, dude. That was like a dual screen game. They had. You can't just say it's a port or a remaster. They have to rebuild the game from the ground up to work on a one screen system. Trapeze. Anyway. Weird thing about Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon coming to the Switch is that it's not Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon anymore. I don't know how many people picked up on this, I don't even know if it was mentioned in the first direct where this game was announced, because I think they skirted around it by saying a Switch release of the game Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon for 3DS will finally be coming to Switch, or whatever they said. So, weird thing about that, the HD remake is called Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. Yes, Luigi's Mansion 2, which, you know, it is the second Luigi's Mansion game, but when it released on the 3DS, it was called Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. I guess it makes sense that they're retconning the 2 into existence, because it makes the whole Luigi's Mansion 3 like direct sequel name make more sense, and so the 2 fit better on the same console. It kind of works. It makes sense. But then why is it Luigi's Mansion 2 HD? Because that implies that it's an HD remake of a Luigi's Mansion 2, and it's not. It's Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. So it should be Dark Moon HD if you're going to add HD to the title. Or otherwise, you could just call it Luigi's Mansion 2. But they wouldn't do that because that'd be kind of weird, I guess. Pretending that it's a new game. So I guess they have to put HD so that it's clear that it's like a remake of a game that already existed. But Luigi's Mansion 2 was not the name of that game that already existed. So why'd you do that, Nintendo? Why'd you change the name? Kind of strange. You could have called it Luigi's Mansion 2 HD Dark Moon Extreme Deluxe with extra Funky Kong mode. You know, missed opportunity on the title there. Think about all of the nonsense you could have added to the end of that title. What a missed opportunity. What are some other Nintendo Direct topics? I guess I covered all the juicy stuff. I don't have a running duration. Okay, 45 minutes. We're 45 minutes in. I at least want to run the stream to an hour, because it's usually a bad sign if one of my streams doesn't last an hour. Anyway. Gaming news. I could talk about the Steam leaks or Steam whatever. Essentially, people have reason to suspect that there's a new, like, VR PC thing being made by Steam, because they've got, like, 3 patents going on. Or not 3 patents. They've got, like, 3 code names in the works. One is codename Sephiroth, which is funny because, you know, that's a Final Fantasy character. But there was a code name for a previous project, which I think might have been the Index, which was codename some other Final Fantasy character. So the codename Sephiroth seems to imply that this is in fact a follow-up to the I'm going Doku Smash on you. Barely lived that. Don't know what makes this slap splash stupid, but or super or whatever, but whatever. The fact that it comes in a bunch of 6 isn't special enough for my liking. I figured it would like heal you to max in one splash or something crazy. But yeah, there's been like little Steam PC looking things in a couple pictures, and people are thinking that that's gonna tie to a you'll think that's gonna tie to a new boosted Valve Index, and that the 2 will work in tandem as like a special PC. Apparently they have their own APU that they're using, which if you weren't aware, is the term for a CPU-GPU combo. I have to stop talking now because I'm going to die. I say as I continue talking. I don't know why I picked that. I don't know why I picked that. I need health now. Let me live. Okay, that's valid. Ha! Idiot. Okay, but yeah, so point is, I don't care about all this VR crap because I can't afford it. VR is so expensive. And it makes me sad because I would really like to have a good PC VR rig and I could play these VR games and have it not look like absolute garbo. Unfortunately, playing a Quest with the link cable is the only reasonable way to do that unless I want to invest hundreds of dollars in the trackers alone, because you need the Lighthouse base stations to get most VR headsets to work. None of them are inside-out tracked except for the Quest and maybe the Apple thing that's also going to be $3,000, so it's not even in the question anyway. The Lighthouse trackers are stupid and overpriced, and they're old, and they need to make a new one that's just the same as the old one, but way cheaper, because surely we can make the same thing, but better now. The point where it uses, like, cheap, old components instead of being price, because like the price of like components goes down as they age, right? What it takes to make like a motor, a small motor, you're making those in bulk is eventually going to be cheaper than it was before, because the technology used to make such a thing is going to be, it's going to develop. The technology is going to develop, making the cost of making things easier. So eventually, consumers should start to feel that, right? Instead of the profit margin continuing to be like a growing thing as tech ages, why can't you just make the old stuff cheaper? Why can't Apple just make the iPhone 4 again, but make it $80? It's because they want money. That's why. That's just the system. But anyway, if Steam's gonna do this whole VR shtick, either this new headset better be inside-out tracked, which would be questionable given that this current index knuckle controllers are like reliant on laser tracking the same way the headset is, so you would have to make a new version of the knuckle controllers as well to account for the inside-out tracking. But if it's not inside-out tracked, I would really like Steam to come up with their own version of the Vive lighthouses, because the lighthouses are stupid and old and bad. We're like 6 or 7 or 8 years in the future and we're still using these lighthouses. 2017, 2018, or whatever the year that the Vive became big. And it's like, come on. You knew way better than that. Like, the headsets themselves had advanced, but they're all using the same tracking solution from years and years ago. Surely, we can have upgraded. We've seen other tracking solutions be introduced, whether it be gyroscopes and stuff, accelerometers, measure relative distance, stuff like Slime VR. Nobody's tracked a headset with Slime VR's kind of technology because that would be nauseating. If it was drifting, your head would just kind of be floating in a direction despite your head not moving in real space. So, glad we haven't moved to Slime VR for headsets, but we have moved to inside-out tracking in some cases and not all. And it's like, why can't we do the laser thing, but like, not do it in this old, stupid way? Why can't we use this laser technology and make it cheaper and better? Cheaper and or better. One or the other, but preferably both. Both. You know? That's enough about my VR quarrels or my VR and my problems with it. One thing I failed to mention about the Nintendo Direct that low-key has me hyped, despite the fact that it really shouldn't. Among Us. Among Us is getting a new map, and it's not. Yeah, I hope it's not just on the Switch version. It should reasonably be every version because it's like cross-platform. But yeah, Among Us is coming to. It's already on the Switch, but they're getting a new map. It's called the Fungal because it's a fungus jungle. And they had an animated trailer for it that was featured in the Nintendo Direct. And I thought that was cool. Happy to see new map in Among Us and have it be an original one instead of Henry Stickmin references. Can't wait to play on the Fungal. Hopefully Among Us sees a resurgence in the streaming arena. And maybe, just maybe, I could get enough friends together to actually play it. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully. Maybe Corey will introduce me to his friend circle and they'll all play Among Us on the Fungal. Dude, that would be stream content. Actually, I don't know if all of them would be cool, but it would be video content. I could record it, chop it up, and use whatever's not the worst. I'm getting sleepy out here. Weird that the pizza party's back. They didn't like announce that like they did with everything else. Why do I have 2 ARs? Forecast from Weather Tower. So I guess I'll go and work on that. I'm out of gaming news to talk about, so the podcast portion of this stream has ended. Welcome to Fortnite and nothing more, because that's all this is gonna be, I guess. Me chilling and playing Fortnite. I had a personal topic I was gonna get into, but I don't know if I want to get into it. just kind of petty and not all that important. And also, I might dox myself if I talk about it, so I'm not gonna do that. I'd rather not. Why does the bike do even worse on the dirt path than the grass? Seems scuffed. I'm on a boat. Oh, the bomb is sticking to the... Wow, that's stupid. On like multiple levels. Time to go get this weather data though. The ring's about to start moving, but like, this is the tower where the stuff's at. Blood warrior. Oh gosh, someone's already fighting a guy and getting the weather data. Dead guy. There's no way to get one of those while it's gold. It's like impossible. Unless I'm just that cool. Now I'm gonna die to this bozo because I just got scanned by a flag. Come on, buddy. The hot element went away for some reason. Sharp teeth. I prefer that kind of AR anyway. I'm gonna drink me a slurp juice since I got another 2 on standby. Guess I'll just leave that one since you have to. And I'm gonna do the thing. Alright, land on some poor sap's head, maybe. Oh man, he did the whole shotgun SMG thing better than me. I gotta level up out of it though. Probably a couple actually, given that I was shooting for challenges. Aim locations, damage opponents, got the forecast thing. Metal upgraded. I'm gonna be honest, I think I'm concluding tonight's edition of Fortnite Friday, or whatever this is, Fortnite podcast. I'm gonna wrap it up here because despite the fact that we've only barely scratched 1 hour, I have exhausted my topics. I was just really excited to talk about the Direct. I'm really hyped that they're giving Paper Mario some love. And I think it's pretty cool that we're seeing some new stuff from Nintendo. Some old stuff getting love. Very cool. Yeah, that'll be it for tonight. So I'm gonna call it here. Thanks for watching. Not that there has been anybody watching this live for a little while now, but if you happen to be rewatching this for some reason, which is totally fine, it's a podcast, that's like normal, then and thanks for listening. We'll be back on some Friday, not tomorrow, because I'm busy tomorrow, and probably not next week either. I would say definitely not the week after. So realistically, in like a month or something, I don't know. But you know, maybe I'll keep doing these off days instead, because I am not always busy on weekdays. Sometimes I have free weekends, but it doesn't always have to be Fortnite. If you want to see other games, you can always let me know in like the comments or whatever. Assuming you can comment on like old live streams. I don't know how that works exactly. But I guess I can stream other content. So that'll be the end of this.